What's going on, everyone? My name is Zayne Montague, and today I wanted to go over my 2025, what I put in, what I didn't put in, what I got from it, the good things, the bad things, everything. And I'm going to kind of just sum that all up in my top 10 lessons I got, so maybe you can learn from that. If you're new here, my name is Zayne Montague. I'm a runner, fashion designer, cinematographer, the man of all hats is what I'm trying to be. So just to give you a little background, this being the first video of 2026, I wanted to start it off with a little bit of reflection and keeping myself accountable, and also kind of just going over things that I think can be done better this year for me. And I think this can be applicable to anyone watching this in any capacity. So I wrote down in my notebook here kind of my top 10 things that I took away from last year in particular, in no particular order, but we'll just start with number one. So number one, there's never a right time. I've always had a subconscious voice in the back of my mind, and I'll use video as an example, that I need to have this camera to shoot this video. I need to have this laptop to do this editing. I need this software to be able to do what I need to do. And the reality is like, you could start today with what you have. A year ago, 2 years ago, pretty much my whole life up until I did buy this camera, I wanted a camera, but I would tell myself these things. And eventually I was like, okay, I'm just going to shoot on my phone. Like, it shoots in 4K. It may not be the best. The footage was definitely not where I wanted it to be. But starting today, or starting then, was the best thing I could have done for myself. And that applies to you. Stop telling yourself there's a perfect time to start something, when you know deep down that if you start today, it's going to be a lot easier tomorrow and the next day and the next day, and it's going to be a domino effect. Not that it's going to be easy, but it gets easier because you got the hardest part done. You started. So number two, nobody actually cares. And this one is kind of self-explanatory, but a lot of the time, again, I'll use social media as an example. When we're doing something we want to do, or we're posting, or we're going after a certain goal that may be a little bit vulnerable, we tend to think everyone's going to judge us, or, if I post this or I do this, that every single person is going to look at it and be like, oh, what the fuck is, like, who's this guy? Like, what is he trying to do? And like, the reality is, there are people that are going to do that. It's inevitable. But the reality is, nobody cares, bro. Like, nobody cares. Like, at the end of the day, everyone's so wrapped up in their own shit. And this is very basic, but sometimes just reminding myself these things has helped me really like dive in to my insecurities and being like, yo, like, nobody really cares, man. Like, just do what you need to do and things will get better and people will stop bothering you, because nobody cares at the end of the day. They're so wrapped up in their own problems. Number three, I wrote down more personally, is my diet. So in this day and age, there's so much junk food, bro. Like fast food, snacks, anything, you name it. Like, there's a million things you can eat that are unhealthy, right? But what really helped me consciously, subconsciously, in my brain, like my brain health, my physical health, my performance, every single aspect of my life, cleaning up my diet helped tremendously. And like, it's a funny term, but you are what you eat at the end of the day. If you're waking up and you're eating donuts and then you're, smoking nicotine, and then you're still like kind of buzzed or like just hungover from the weed you smoked the night before, the alcohol, that kind of dominoes, right? You're always going to be in a fatigue state, and you're never going to know what it's like to, be 100% what you can be. And it's super cliche, but it's just the reality. So to kind of break it down relatively, is what I did that really worked with my body, and I tried a lot of diets, was carnivore. So I literally just rotate different meats. So Monday will be chicken, then you sub a carb, and then I sometimes eat vegetables, sometimes not, sometimes they're too starchy. But I'll do, example is like chicken pesto and baby potatoes has been one of my go-to meals. Another one is steak, eggs, avocados, put it on the cutting board, post it on Instagram, you're locked. So, yeah, no, for me, that's worked really well. So I'll rotate all the meats: salmon, steak, chicken, beef, all the types of different meats. And my body reacts to that really well. So if something else reacts to your body differently, then that's what works for you. But don't tell me it's junk food, bro, because I know it doesn't work. You get a little dopamine spike, and then after that, you feel like shit for the rest of the day until you eat another, junk food, and then the dopamine comes back up. And what we're not doing this year is dopamine spikes. We are delaying gratification, which brings me to number 4, which is delayed gratification. A lot of my life, especially last year, looking back at it, I spent a lot of time on screens, scrolling Instagram, watching Twitch, watching YouTube, playing video games, all of it to get that instant dopamine. And doing that, it kills your creativity, it kills your critical thinking, it kills your attention span. And in reality, you're just doing these things to avoid everything that you don't want to deal with. Whether it's knocking out your homework, whether it's, hitting the workout you've been saying you were going to do, but you've been scrolling on your phone since 8 a.m., right? So a huge thing this year for me is going to be turning off the phone, turning off the video game, and focusing on what's in front of me. It's super simple. You've heard it a million times, but I dare you to try it for 24 hours, even a week even. And what that does is it kind of rewires your brain to crave organic dopamine, essentially. And I'm not a neuroscientist, but this is pretty obvious, right? If your brain is constantly getting dopamine spikes throughout the day, especially when you wake up, if the first thing you're doing is scrolling, the rest of the day your brain's going to be craving that dopamine high because you already set the bar high when you woke up. Versus if you wake up, go get sun, go work out. I'm not going to tell you to be a health guru, but delaying that dopamine and gratification will help rewire your brain to chase organic dopamine, such as working out, such as reading, such as doing what you actually want to do, whether that be writing. You know what I mean. That one is probably one of the keystones for me. Like if you take away anything from this video, be that one. After this video, close the video because you got to finish it, right? Got to keep that retention on my channel high. But after the video, exit YouTube, go outside, bro. Go write something down, bro. Do something, right? So number 5, I wrote Lonely Chapter. And as corny as it sounds, Alex Hormozy described it perfectly in an interview with, I believe his name's Chris Williamson. Basically, there's going to be a lot of points in your life where, if you are aspiring to do something more ambitious than, let's say, your friends or your immediate relatives, you're going to feel a little lonely. And for me, that one was huge because a lot of my life I've always been like, oh, I'm not enough. I need to be more successful. I need to have more money. Like whether it's materialistic or if it's in the soul, I've always craved to be more than I was. And what I noticed was, I'm not going to say everyone is like a piece of shit, but like what I noticed was the more I focused on myself and trying to better myself in every capacity, the less people tend to hang around. Because in my freshman year of college, I was drinking every single day. Like, I'm not even trolling. Like, I was drinking every single day. I was partying with homies. I had a bunch of homies, right? Bunch of friends. Next year, I was done with it. I was like, okay, I want to try to take TikTok seriously. I want to try to do fashion. I want to try to get my brand going. And a lot of those friendships faded out. And it makes you feel really lonely. And I'm kind of quoting Alex here, is he described it as you're in between your old friend groups where you're kind of like, here's your old friend group, here's where you want to be, and you're here. You're not successful enough to be with the successful people, but you want more than the people you're around. So just anticipate that. If you are going on some ambitious, long journey, whatever the case may be, anticipate that it will get lonely at times. And that's okay, because you're doing what you want to do. Being extraordinary requires a lot of sacrifice, unfortunately. Another one, number 6, and it kind of ties to one of the other ones, is if not now, when? Tomorrow's better, not today, right? Is it going to be one day or is it going to be day one? It's pretty simple. Number 7, and this one is huge for me. This is my list, so if you have your own list, fire. Take some of these, throw it in your list. But for me, number 7 was sleep. I've always been not insomniac, but I would love to stay up late because the nighttime provides a lot of peace for me and my mind, and it feels like no one's awake, so I can kind of just doom scroll or, smoke weed and relax. And what that did is it kind of offset my whole day the next day. So like for me, I'm not the type to want to sleep in, but what would happen is because I'm staying up late and I'm not hitting my um, ideal sleep time and I'm eating late and I'm watching screens so I can't fall asleep for hours after, turning it off, it just offset the next day. So I would end up waking up later than I wanted to. I would feel overly fatigued. I wouldn't get things done that I needed to get done. And what I'm doing this year is I'm locking in that sleep schedule. So recently I've been going to bed around 11 p.m., waking up around 7. The goal is going to be 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. ideally. Sometimes earlier, sometimes later. It will vary depending on, what's going on. But locking in that sleep schedule, locking in that nightly and morning routine will drastically change your life. Number 8, family matters most. So for me growing up, I loved my family, but I was so hyper focused on having friends and being social consistently that I kind of threw my family out the window. There were times where I could have been present and enjoyed my family. And we had a cabin when I was younger that we would go up to. And the whole time I'd be miserable because I'd be so focused on, oh, what's so and so doing? What's this girl doing? And I'm not going to tell you what to do. But for me, I really realized over the last couple of years being away from my family that like it's a ticking time bomb at the end of the day. None of us want to think about it, but it is. Like the less time you choose to spend with your family is time taken away. So I've been really trying to make sure I'm planning these family trips, and for me, my family was never super like event oriented. We would kind of just hang out, and that's what it was. Some people I know, their family is very event oriented, and that's great. But for me, like I'm forcing my parents, like, yo, we're doing this trip, right? Or I'm coming home, I'm gonna come visit for a week and do nothing and just hang out. Like for me, that was so important because it's so grounding and it really like just helps your mind relax, for me especially. And reminds me of, kind of why I'm doing all of this and who I want to make proud. And at the end of the day, when I do everything I want to do and I reach a certain point that I set, who's going to be there, right? My family. And you know that for a fact. But if you wait 50 years from now to, talk to your dad, then your dad may not necessarily be around. And so that's kind of my point here, is to just send that text, tell them you love them, drop by, go give them an extra visit, whether that be your grandma, whether that, whatever. Just go visit your family, tell them you love them, and be active in your family's group chat, man. It means a lot more than you know. So, number 9, having an athletic routine / mindset. So for me, growing up, I played soccer my entire life. That was my number one goal, was to be a pro soccer player. And I was really good. I ended up playing on the 11th team in the nation, ranked wise. And I was obsessed with it and I loved it. I had a couple of coaches that ended up getting to me mentally, and I'm not going to make excuses and say they ruined it for me, but it definitely impacted my mental health. With me already being hard on myself, I kind of shut down, and I still play soccer, or I did, but I quit competitive. And ever since then, it was kind of like a gaping hole in my life that I realized I needed to fill with some type of routine. So if you grew up playing sports and now you're kind of just, doing whatever you're doing, for me, what really helped was picking up something that required prep for a race or a bodybuilding show or a swimming competition, whatever the case may be. Prepping for something, doing it, and then post where you relax and you get the real dopamine that you've been working towards. And it's a goal. It's something to strive for. It's 1% better every day. And for me, that ended up being running. Initially, it was bodybuilding because I grew up very skinny, had a fast metabolism, and I wanted to put on some weight. So I spent all my extra time in the gym, cranking iron, putting on extra pounds, eating as much protein until I, throw up. And I tend to be drastic, so don't be drastic, but stick to a routine that really works for you. More recently, as you have seen, I've been getting into running. I've done marathon training. We just did the Honolulu Marathon. I posted a full video about that. Shameless plug. If you guys haven't already checked it out, go give it a watch. I think it's one of my best videos. It was an amazing time. You can watch it here or the link in the bio. Having that routine drastically shifted my mindset and my physical capabilities for the better. And I think it applies to life, because if you're going for that job that you really want, putting in those reps every single day, sending those emails, sending those applications, it all applies. It's all the same concept. It comes down to discipline and determination. Lastly, wrapping up the book here, running out of time. Lastly, I have create for you. If you're an artist, if you're a musician, if you're a graphic designer, if you, whatever the case may be, create things for you. And this is kind of a Rick Rubin quote. Um, a lot of the time, what I would always do is I would be like, okay, what's going to sit best with my audience, right? What's going to be the best CTR? What's going to be the best retention? What's going to sell upstairs to the people that I need it to? And if you're in a job, it's a little bit different. You have to do certain things. I understand that. But if it's a personal project and you're doing it, or you're wanting to pursue being a musician, or whatever I mentioned previously, create things for yourself. And what that does is you actually enjoy the process of creating, that your work ends up being more organic and it ends up being more true to yourself rather than some fabricated, I'm trying to sell to you perspective of art or creation. And that's like over the last couple of years, I'd always kind of had that mindset of, are people gonna like this? Am I gonna look cool? Is this gonna do well on the social media platform? And more recently, I'm just kind of like, bro, who cares? Like, if I'm creating something and I spend a lot of time on it and I really like it and I'm passionate about it, then fuck it. Like, that's all that matters. And the work's gonna end up better anyways. So focus on what makes you happy when you're creating something. Create things for yourself, man. Don't create things for other people. The audience will come. If you are true to yourself and you really fuck with what you're doing and it's that good, people will slowly gravitate towards that because they'll see that energy coming off of you and they'll read that and be like, oh, damn, like this dude really knows what he's doing. He really likes what he's doing. He's not forcing himself or herself to do something that they don't want to do. So to leave it off, create for yourself, get that sleep routine locked in. And yeah, man, that kind of wraps up my lessons personally. There's a lot more, I'm sure. And if you have any lessons or things you took away over the last year, whether it be last year, the year before, I don't care. Drop it in the comments. Let me know what you guys have taken away over the last few years and what you're applying to your new year and how you're benefiting your life or others around you. To wrap up this video, I wanted to go over really quickly kind of my goals and aspirations for this year. And in the past, I would always do like, oh, I want 10K subs, I want 10K followers. But for today, we're going to do measurable goals. So number one, I want to hit a sub 3 hour and 30-minute marathon. And I think that is very doable. Right now, I'm doing like 30 to 40 miles a week. I'm going to up it to 50. We're going to be going to Nashville in April. And then we're also going to New York Fashion Week in February. So that's one of my big goals, get a sub 3 hour and 30-minute marathon. Another big goal is to travel consistently. Another goal, as I mentioned, be more present. Focus on what I'm doing in the moment, not what could have been. Another goal I have is summit Mount Fuji. I'm going to be going to Japan. So weekly YouTube uploads, 75K plus job or salary. Obviously freelance would be better. Maintain 3 to 5 reel posts per week. We're not focusing on followers. We're not focusing on views. We're staying consistent with reels and uploads. Begin investing in retirement and stocks. Launch my first product, digital or physical. Journal, meditate, and sleep on time daily. So to wrap it up, I hope you guys took something from this. I'm excited for the year. Thank you all for all the support as always. And I wish you guys the best. Let me know how you feel in the comments. Like, subscribe, share the video. It all helps me so much. And yeah, man, I'll see you guys very soon. Peace.